No idea what I'm doing. Trying to figure this out. Does this work? Okay. Maybe that'll work. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So I wanted to do this on my laptop, but apparently it's not working. There's an antivirus thing that came with the laptop and now it's expired, so my tech guy, my hubby, is working on it. So yeah, so here I am. I'm going to try to do this on my iPad. I have no idea if it's going to work. Not even really sure where I'm supposed to look, but we'll see. So, I have no idea what to talk about. No idea what to do. No one's home except my hubby, so this was the perfect time for me to do it. So what do we talk about? I have no idea. I see people are logged on, but I'm not getting any messages or comments. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me out if you've done this before. But yeah, I was supposed to do this on my laptop, which I felt more comfortable doing. But like I said, the antivirus is acting up. I think it's expired. Whatever came free with the laptop is now expired. So my husband is trying to take that software off and put a new one on, which of course I have to pay for. Hate that. Why does everything cost so much? Why do they all want my money? So, yeah. Hope everyone's having a great day. It's kind of rainy and gloomy here. Big difference from yesterday. Yesterday was so pretty. It was so nice. It was like 73 degrees. So, yeah, today it's cold, dreary, rainy. One of those ugly days that you just don't want to get out of bed, but you have to. So, yeah. Anyway, welcome to my channel. My name is Ro with It's a Chore Thing. I am a mom and a wife. I have 3 children who are actually grown. My oldest is 25. My middle son is 23, and my youngest is my daughter, and she is 19. Both of my sons, my oldest son has actually moved out of the home. He left me and lives off on his own with his girlfriend. And my middle son still lives here at home, which I'm okay with. We're more like a Holiday Inn. He just goes to work every day, comes home, sleeps, and then leaves to go to his friends or wherever he's going. So he does that. And my daughter is attending Westchester University, which is right down the street. So she's here, living at home. She keeps saying she's going to move out. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't think it's a smart idea as a college student that she should move out. She should really try to save her money and stay home. Once she graduates from Westchester, she is going to go to PA school and will probably go in the city in Philadelphia. I think she says she wants to go to Drexel. So at that point, I think she should probably move out because just the traveling back and forth into the city every day might be a bit too much. So yeah, and then it's just my husband and my dog Bubba, who is my angel. He's the love of my life. We actually had an interesting conversation yesterday. We had a friend of ours who lost their pet and crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. And she was so upset. And we were tearing up. We didn't know how to comfort her because it's just, it's such a hard thing. And so we got into this conversation of what will happen if, God forbid, the time comes for poor Mr. Bubba to cross over that bridge. And I don't know. I bawled like a baby. What am I going to do? He's like he's such a big part of my life, and I just don't know what would happen. So, yeah. How's everyone else? Is everyone enjoying their weekends? Sunday afternoons are always such a drag around here because we know we have to get ready for the upcoming week, and this week is looking kind of ugly. A lot of stuff going on, so none of us are really prepared for that. Yeah. So, is there anything anyone wanted to talk about, or do you have any questions for me? I did promise Denise over at This and That with Denise Jordan that I would do my live before April 1st. So here I am, cutting it close to the deadline, I know, but I did it, and here I am. So I get to tell her tonight that yes, I did it. This is something I was not looking forward to. Really didn't want to do it. Had to get a lot of pushing and encouragement from Denise. So, yeah, this will be interesting. And of course, I pick the day that I can't wear any makeup. My daughter and I went to a spa treatment yesterday, and they did this whole like facial thing, and so my face is really, really red, and I was told not to wear makeup or put anything on my face for at least 48 hours. So, yeah, it was a good time for me to decide I'm just going to jump in and do the live because I was worried about it. So it just kept bothering me, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about or what I was going to do. So I just said, forget it. I'm just doing the live, and I'm going live right now, and sat down and did it. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I hope I'm looking at the camera the right way. Don't know if I am. My daughter just came home. She's not happy. She had to work today, so she's not happy, but we will tend to her later. So, what else can I talk about? I don't know. Don't know what else to talk about. Oh, I don't know if I finished my story about Bubba. So we talked about what would happen when he crossed over the Rainbow Bridge, and I don't know what will become of me because he is such a huge part of my life and really all of our lives. So to not have him here, we don't know what we're going to do. I would be devastated. I think I'd have to curl up into a ball and just wither away to nothing. But yeah, so I just got done filming my Easter mantle decoration. So that will be up tomorrow. Hope you guys watch it. I love decorating my mantle. It's fun. I like the different changes. Little change of scenery each month. You know how it is when you decorate, at least with me anyway. I love it for a couple weeks, but then I start to get tired of looking at the same thing, so I don't worry about it. Or I'm sorry, I don't like to keep it, and by the time I'm really starting to get the itch to change something, hey Denise, I did it, look at me, going live. But yeah, once I finally get the itch to change everything, it's about time for a new season or a new holiday. So, yeah. Again, I don't know why my messages are not coming up. I'm trying to figure out how that all happens. Oh, there it is. I got it, Denise. Thanks for telling them. I still have no idea what I'm doing, Denise. Help me out here. I don't know how you do this every week. Um, but yeah, are there any questions that you guys have for me? Um, looking to tweak. I know, Christmas, right? Oh, I love decorating for Christmas. It usually takes me days. Usually in the beginning of November, I start trying to plan like what I'm going to do and what I'm going to switch up. This year, I think it might be a little difficult because I kind of decluttered a lot of our Christmas decorations. I didn't get rid of them though. I just stopped putting them up. Hi, how are you? It's always something around here. I'm sorry if I don't remember your name. Please forgive me. But we, um, what am I using to get live? Denise, I'm using my iPad. I was going to use my laptop because that's what, oh, hi, Luann, because that's what I was comfortable with, but my antivirus expired and I had to give it to my husband to take care of it. So he has to, I don't know, take off the antivirus that came with it and install a new one. And of course, that's got to take all day. And it's got to be the day I decide, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to hop on live. And I grab my iPad and here I am. And yes, I was very nervous. Still am. If you can see how I'm wringing my hands under the table. This is so out of my comfort zone. But I knew I had to do it. And so, yeah, here I am. Woo. I hope it's coming across okay. Nah, Luann, you have to do it. It's nerve-wracking. I'm telling you, I think it's easier when you don't think about it. When I was doing my Easter mantle decoration, it just kept going on and on in my head, like, oh my God, I gotta do this, and I still don't know what I'm gonna talk about. When am I gonna do it? When's the best time? And finally, I couldn't take it anymore, and I got done filming and grabbed my iPad and told my husband to keep quiet because I'm going to go live. Now, I did sit here for 10 minutes staring at the iPad, waiting to hit that little button that says go live, because I couldn't do it. And my husband came out and he was like, you still haven't pressed that thing? So I said, I know, I'm doing it. And I said, as soon as you leave the kitchen, I'll do it. So he immediately left the premises. So, oh, thanks, Luann. Yeah, this is so nerve-wracking for me. But yeah, he left the kitchen, and I just hit. Oh, thank you, Denise. Wait, Denise, are you implying that I'm supposed to do this again? Ooh, I don't know if I can. It's a bit too much for me. I don't know if my nerves can handle it. I may have to take up drinking. Good Lord. And my husband said the same thing. He said, just pretend that you're talking to a friend, which is easy, but I said, usually my friend talks back to me, so I'm not used to just sitting here talking to a blank wall. Not to say I don't ever talk to myself, because I do that like 50 million times a day. I only worry when I answer myself, though. That's when I start to think maybe I should get out and see people, interact. But yeah, so, and please pray for that sweet, sweet girl in South Carolina that got into the wrong Uber car and has now been killed. My daughter went to South Carolina for a year. She did not know this girl, but one of the girls in her sorority that she is very friendly with knew this girl. They grew up in the same town, so it's very upsetting when things like that happen. And as the mother of a teenage daughter, I always, always, always worry about her and tell her, please always check your Uber, which she is really good with. She doesn't go up to them, she waits for them to call her name. And all of her friends, which I found this out yesterday, if someone leaves and gets into an Uber, they all go to the Uber and make sure that they get in there safely and that everyone knows that she's in the right Uber car. That's comforting to know, but it's just so scary anymore. I just don't understand what's happening with this world. It's very scary. Like I said, especially if you are the mother of a daughter, but oh, I know. Denise, I used Uber once. Or, no, actually, I used Uber twice. And there's a funny story about my first Uber drive. Um, my daughter had gotten hurt. This was when she was in South Carolina. And somehow the poor thing fell out of her bed. She was, pretty high up on that. She's making faces at me. She's pretty high up on those college beds. And somehow she fell trying to get off of it and really messed up her leg. I mean, it was bad. She had broken a couple bones. There was like hairline fractures in her ankle. I mean, it was bad. So she called me as she was on her way to the ER, and the doctor saw her and said, yeah, you definitely need to go see an orthopedic surgeon. So I had to make an emergency trip out to South Carolina. So I flew into Charlotte, which was the closest airport. Well, I guess you could go into Columbia, South Carolina, but the airline tickets were too expensive. So anyway, I flew into Charlotte, and I had arranged to rent a car at the airport and drive the 1 hour, or actually no, I think it was like an hour and a half from Charlotte to Columbia, South Carolina. And because I didn't know when I was coming back, I only bought a one-way ticket because I didn't know what the surgeon was going to say. She could have had surgery on her leg, and I would have been there for God knows how long. So I get to the counter to get my car, and they wouldn't rent me the car because I only had a one-way ticket. And it was just such a mess. We had used sleeping on the... I know. Oh, God, Denise, I know. But it was the way she hyped it up. I couldn't use the credit card that we had reserved the rental car for because it was in my husband's name. So the guy at the counter was giving me such a hard time. I called my husband. I was in hysterics. I had no idea what I was going to do. There I was stranded at Charlotte Airport trying to figure out how I was going to get to my daughter. So finally, after an hour of arguing with these car rental people, I said, forget it. I am just going to Uber to Columbia, South Carolina, and I'll figure out a rental car once I get there. So I ordered my first Uber car, had to call my daughter and tell her to walk me through the process of setting up an account. So I set up an account, and the Uber driver shows up, and I said, now, before I get in this car, you realize I am going to Columbia, South Carolina, which is an hour and a half away. And he said, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Get in the car. We start to leave the airport, and all of a sudden he says, oh no, we have to go back. And I said, why? What's wrong? Well, apparently Uber canceled his trip because I guess he said he had gotten into an accident the day before, and now they were, I guess, he can only drive locally. So he had to take me back to the terminal and drop me off. I had to arrange for another Uber. The guy showed up. The car was a little sketchy. He was a little sketchy, and I was nervous about getting in the car with him. And anyway, I got in the car, and he ended up being the sweetest guy. And he drove us, and I started noticing he was like gripping the steering wheel of the car, and I was like, "Are you okay?" Well, here he was a smoker, which I knew when I got into the car because I could smell it. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm just really hurting for a cigarette right now." And that didn't, like, cigarette smoke doesn't bother me. So I was like, "Boy, go ahead, have your smoke. Get your smoke on because I want to get there in one piece." So he was like, "Oh, thank God. Thank you so much." So he started chain smoking, which was a little much. I thought he would have maybe one. Wasn't expecting the chain smoking, but it was all right. It was a nice day. Rolled the window down. But anyway, he got me there, and he ended up dropping me off at a car dealership. Who, while I was in the back of the car, I found would rent me a car. Like, I explained my situation, and they were like, "Sure, no problem. Come on in." So that's how I got the car. But that was my first Uber experience, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And the thing cost me like $100. I was like, "Oh my God, never again." I know. Denise, I'm telling you. But if you could have, I started to get a little nervous when I saw his hands like wrenching the steering wheel. And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, what's going on? I started to, like, you know, scenes of deliverance were going through my head. And I didn't know why. And I'm such a nosy person. I was like, "Are you all right?" And that's when he said, I need to have a cigarette. I was like, "Oh, sweetie, get your smoke on if that's going to get me there." Luann, I am in Westchester, which is right out of Philadelphia. We're about 20 minutes out of Philadelphia. So I live in Chester County, and it's beautiful here. I love it. We are very local to a lot of things. Like I said, it's only 20 minutes into the city, 45 with traffic, which could be any day. But yeah, so that was my first Uber experience, and I didn't think I would ever use it again, but I think I used it once after that. My car was in the shop, and I had to go pick it up. So my daughter and I hopped into an Uber, but she is an Uber pro, that one. She's always taking an Uber. Oh, okay. Oh, Bear, Delaware. Yeah, that's not far. Oh, what church in Chester? I grew up in Delaware County, so I know most of the area fairly well. Um, oh yeah, Maryland's not far. Not far at all. I was actually thinking of going to Washington next weekend for their Cherry Blossom Festival. And we have friends of ours that are running in a race Sunday morning, the 7th. Don't mind Bubba. He hears people running outside, so he's not happy about it. But they are running in a race, a Cherry Blossom Festival race or something like that, but it's a 10-mile race. So we thought we would go and meet up with them on Saturday and hang out with them, and then go and support them at the race. But now I can't go because my husband is being called into work. My daughter was going to come with me, but now she has to work, so it's not going to work out. And I'm kind of bummed because if any of you have ever been to the Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, you'll know it's an amazing sight. Oh, you had the perfect day to go. Were the trees blooming yet, or are they still like in that white phase? I forget. There was something we were following, I guess, and it tells us like at what point in the bloom they are, and they said it was like level 4, which is white bloom, but it's not like peak bloom yet. And according to their calendar, it's supposed to be next week. But we went once before when the kids were younger, and I loved it. And I keep saying I want to go back, and it never seems to work out every year. So I thought this was our year. But now I was even willing to go by myself, but I can't. I get very nervous going places. Oh, that's awesome that it wasn't crowded. Oh, hey! I missed your live last night. I'm so sorry. It just dawned on me this morning that I missed your live. Um, so yeah, I I don't do well in crowds. I get very anxious. So I thought I would go before the peak bloom, and that way I could see everything and not have to deal with a lot of crowds. But I have a feeling I'm just gonna have to suck it up and go when it's crowded. But we'll see. 1 million people. Oh my goodness. Life in Christ. I'll have to look it up. Denise, like I said, I've never heard of it offhand, but I'm sure I probably have passed it and never paid attention. There are so many things, and I get in trouble with that a lot, that I drive past so many things and I never even take notice. And then people will say, "Oh, have you ever seen such and such?" And I'll say, "No, I've never seen it." And then I find out, oh my God, I pass this thing every single day. So I really need to pay more attention. But I'm always so nosy, and I'm always worried about like what other people are doing and what other drivers are doing. Um, oh yeah, I'm sure the weather was. Oh hey, oh Fabio, hi love, girl. I am taking them boots. Let me tell you, I am going to catch the red eye to London. I am snatching them boots. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. It's funny, but Denise, you have to come to Washington and come see the Cherry Blossom Festival. It's absolutely we can have one boot each. But yeah, you have to come see the festival. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know. I might grab my daughter or my aunt and sneak off during the week just to go see it. Um, just mainly for pictures and stuff like that. And we're going to try once again to go to the Holocaust Museum. When the last time we were in Washington, we tried to. Oh, Fabio, I'm right outside Philadelphia. We tried to go to the Holocaust Museum, and apparently, you can only buy timestamp tickets. So even though we got there very first thing in the morning, everything was sold out, and we couldn't get there until the last showing, which was like 4 o'clock. So we show up at 4, and we try to go in and see it. And apparently, they say take your time because it takes almost 2 hours to get through the whole thing. Well, they close at 5. So why they sold us tickets for 4 o'clock when they know they closed at 5? Shame on them. But we pretty much did a race through the whole thing. We didn't stop to take pictures. We got it all done. But there were so many things I wanted to really take my time and sit and look at, and there were films and educational videos that were playing, and I wanted to really look at that. But we'll have to go back another time. It's definitely enough. It's a redo on my bucket list. Um, but yeah, so Fabio, I my accent. It's so funny because everyone says when I travel, everyone says, "Oh, where are you from, girl? Listen to that accent." I'm like, "Wait, what?" They are amazing. They are amazing. And I think we have a couple of museums here in the city that are absolutely amazing. I still haven't even been, oh my God, I haven't been to the Liberty Bell my God, I think I was in grade school the last time I went. And before, back then, it wasn't so secure. I mean, you could literally walk by it in the middle of the night, reach over and touch it. Everything was fine. But now it's, all enclosed, and you have to take your time going through. But I am definitely going to go back and do the Liberty Bell. And I think this summer I'm going to take a day, and I might even film it and bring you guys along and do a like be a tourist in your own city kind of thing. Because I remember as a child going with my school, going to see it is like airport security, but going to see the Betsy Ross house, and you were one of the cool kids if you left the gift shop with one of those like feather pens, which I never got because my mom was always like, no, you don't need that. She was the true Asian mother that, you don't spend money on souvenirs. You don't need that. You don't need a souvenir. That's what my brothers and I heard growing up. So, but yeah, and by the time my kids were able to do the, historic Philadelphia tour with their schools, that's when things were starting to get really tight. And so security was an issue, and the safety of the kids was always an issue with the school district. So they stopped a lot of things, like the trip to Washington, the historic Philadelphia, all of that got canceled. So my kids never really got to do that, which makes me sad. Because it's an experience. It's something that even now when I talk to friends that I went to school with, we always say, "Oh my God, do you remember doing that as a kid? Do you remember going on the bus and going to Betsy Ross house and seeing the Liberty Bell?" And it upsets me that my kids didn't get to do that. And we took them a couple of times when they were little into the city to walk around. But I don't think they really, I don't think they enjoyed it as much as we did. They used to always like going into the city at Christmas time because John Wanamaker, now I'm really dating myself, but John Wanamaker was this huge department store in Center City, and they always put on this fabulous Christmas display. And they had this huge tree in the middle of the store, and everybody would go and look at it and take pictures in front of it. And that was something that I used to do when I was little. And we would make a day of it with the kids. We would hop on the train and go into the city and see all of the Christmas decorations and see the Wanamaker tree. But yeah, they don't do that anymore. So anyway, but I'm approaching my half-hour mark, so I think I'm going to sign off. Oh, thanks, Luann. But thank you for joining me for my live, and hopefully I will have better content if I do this again. Don't know if I will. But anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.